So the first one is going to be a three-part motion. So you're going to take one giant step forward with your right foot, and your left hand is going to go to the ground. Now this is going to allow you to get a stretch. So keep your back leg straight, your right elbow goes to your instep. You're getting a stretch through your groin, a stretch through your hips. Yep, just like that. So once again, if you can't go all the way down to the ground, you can do this exact same movement on a chair or a stool. Just one big step forward, keep your back leg straight, you're holding it here. The second part is from that motion, so either from the ground, you're gonna rotate your body up without letting that knee bow out to the side. So keep that knee tucked in tight to the body, rotate your arm up to the sky. That's gonna build that thoracic mobility. Same thing, you can do this if you have that chair, if you can't go all the way down to the ground, same thing, just rotate open to the sky to open up through the obliques. You're gonna hold each of these sections for about 20 seconds. And then the last one, you can do this from a chair as well, is straighten that front leg and bring your nose down to your knee. You're gonna feel a stretch to that front right hamstring. And you're trying not to bounce here, but nice and slow and controlled, gently trying to bring your nose to your knee. And you're gonna elongate that muscle in the back of your right leg, or whatever leg is forward for you guys. And same thing, if you can get all the way down to the ground, awesome. Bring your hands down to the outside of your legs. Good, excellent. We can do this also on the other side as well. Excellent. So we'll get both sides so we're feeling a little even here. So let's just go through it once again. We'll hold each one for about 5 seconds. So left leg is going to go forward. Right leg's going to go back. Back leg stays straight. Hand goes to the ground or a bench. Just try and keep that back leg straight so you feel a whole elongation to that front hip flexor and the front side of your body. Good. And from there, we're going to go to the other side. So rotate that left arm over your back. Do it from this side so you guys can see. Quick little twist to the body. So once again, you're holding that for about 20 seconds. Today, we'll do it for about 5. Then gently bring that left hand down to the outside of your left foot. Straighten that front leg and bring your nose down to your knee. Once again, you'll feel a stretch. And what you might notice here is one side might be a little tighter, a little looser than the other side, which is pretty common in the human body. So go ahead and come up. So that's the world's greatest stretch. And that would be a really good one to do right before you're going to golf. You could do it on the golf course if you want to be, if you're okay with doing those stretches on the golf course. It helps open up everything in the body. So you're getting hip flexors, hamstrings, glutes, shoulders, torso, and low back. So all the areas that sometimes get tight and stiff from golfing, or just, if you're sitting in a car for 30 minutes before you get to the golf course, that low back gets stiff. So that's called the world's greatest 3 different stretches. So we're recording this as well. So if you forgot those stretches or want a recording of it, let us know. Reach out to us via email. We can also send that to you. And then the second big stretch I want to go over with you guys is something you can easily do at home. So grab a pillow. I have a yoga block here to put my knee on. It's just going to be a kneeling half hip flexor stretch, half kneeling. So put one knee or back knee onto that yoga block, or a pillow, or a couch cushion, or a real carpeted floor, whatever you have. Take your hands on your hips and drive your hips forward as far as you can so you feel a stretch to the body. If your right leg is forward, rotate your body to the right while you're keeping that stretch in your leg. So you're stretching out a muscle deep in your hip socket called your psoas. Patrick, I'm going to quiz you at the end of this class. Make sure you remember that muscle. All right? There we go. So psoas muscle in here gets real tight if we're sitting a lot throughout the day at computers or wherever it may be. This is a great way to loosen up to that hip flexor. And that torso rotation without bouncing builds that thoracic mobility. Once again, a lot of golfers lose distance on their swing because their body just can't turn back that far. So if you can utilize your opposite hand to twist a little bit, get a little deeper stretch in there without bouncing. So don't bounce with these stretches. We'll slowly come out of that and do the other side for about 10 seconds here. Put your opposite knee on the ground. Drive your hips forward. Good. First, feel that stretch to the front of your hip flexor. When you're ready, rotate your body all the way to the side. I'll let you guys keep doing this. I'm going to talk to you guys. We're doing it for the next 5 seconds. Keep breathing into that stretch. So the last thing you want to do is hold your breath here. Sometimes when you twist, your body naturally holds its breath. So just keep breathing with that twist and try and get a little further, maybe a centimeter further, centimeter further and hold it for about a good 5 to 6 seconds today. And good. Go ahead, slowly release. So those would be 2 moves that you can incorporate into your routine every day. You can't hurt yourself. Just don't bounce with any of the stretches. So the next portion Caitlin's going to take you through is a bunch of movement patterns together that are definitely going to help the whole body movement. So those are specific to like the golf specific hips, low back, shoulders, torso. And Caitlin's going to now take you through a couple movement patterns to build up just the flexibility, mobility in the entire body. A quick little sequence to really help with your guys' natural flexibility. So she'll do a little bit more of explaining than that. So have fun, guys. Thank you.
The routine I'm going to take you through, it's about 20 minutes or so. I'd like you to kind of try these stretches and these movements. They're yoga based for the most part. Don't worry about memorizing all these. Like Tony said, this will be recorded and we'll be able to send the link to you, or just remember a couple of the ones that really felt really good and incorporate those into your routine. And we've got classes here all week. I teach a gentle flow class on Saturdays, so you can always come to the studio and join us live or virtually as well. So with golf, we know that, as Tony mentioned, all that rotation and all that power and removing, from the hips and the shoulders and the spine is so important. We want that joint flexibility, that range of motion, and then the common areas of injury with golf, the back. So many golfers struggle with the back. I have low back issues myself from golf and from sitting all day. The elbows, the wrists, the shoulders. So that's why it's really important to go through a routine like this and to add it to your regular workout routine, because it's going to help improve that golf swing so much. So this routine that I put together will work on the spine. The spine moves in 6 directions. It moves forward, it moves back, it moves side to side, and then it's that rotation, that torque, right? That's so important in golf. So this routine is designed to kind of wake up those muscles and move the spine in all those different directions. It's going to focus on the core, which is so important for stability during that swing, and then a little bit of that balance, because we always want to keep that swing and just our lives in general in balance. Okay.
Begin in just an easy seated position, cross-legged, however you like. Hands just like gently on your knees. And we'll just take some shoulder rolls down to the back. Kind of exaggerate it, getting them up toward the ears. You can feel mine cracking a little bit. It's all right, it's natural. And then we're going to reverse directions now. We're going to go toward the front of the room. Stop in the middle. And drop your right ear towards your right shoulder. And feel the stretch here on the side of your neck. And then just, if that stretch feels good to you and you think you want a little bit of a deeper stretch, you can just take that left hand out next to you and then begin to tiptoe those fingers out ever so slightly, and you'll begin to feel that neck elongate even more. So again, sitting all day, desk job, looking at the computer, looking at our phones, kind of get this what's called text neck. So neck is also very important and obviously attaches to the spine and so important to everything that we do. So it's good to take good care of it here. Breathing into that stretch. And then you can walk those fingertips back in, drop the chin to the chest, and roll the other ear to the opposite shoulder. So now we've got our left ear dropping toward our left shoulder, feeling that stretch on the other side, and then walk those fingertips with the right hand out ever so slightly to increase the stretch on this side. Really good, guys. All right, bring those hands back toward the knees and then drop the chin to the chest, round the back, pulling that belly button into the spine, and then pull through to heart center, arching that back. I'll show you guys what it's looking like from the side. So we're gonna flow in this movement. So we're gonna round our back, and then we're gonna pull through. So when I'm in this position, I'm trying to feel like there's creating space between every vertebrae in my back. Pulling through. through. Feeling like you're moving that spine. Care. Just flow here. Kind of taking breaths as you go. Inhale. Exhale. Take one more. And come to neutral. Let's bring our arms up overhead and clasp our hands together. I like to release my fingertips here. So clasping my hands, releasing the fingertips. And then just gently move side to side. So here we are, waking up this portion of the spine. Movement here from side to side. Stretching along the side body. Feeling like you're kind of crunching the bottom of your rib cage toward that hip bone. Stretching up tall in the middle. And you can release those hands and bring them back behind your chest. So we're going to clasp our hands behind and then pull through, lifting the chest and the heart up. Down with those knuckles toward the ground. Stretching in the front of the chest there. Good chest opener. Great. Now let's take our right arm, bring it across our chest. Bring that left arm under. Stretching out the bicep here. Arms are such an important part of that golf swing. Make sure we're loose and limber. Creating length in those muscles. Bring that arm up overhead, bending at the elbow. It's going to just lightly grab on with your opposite hand, pull down. You guys have probably done all these kind of stretches before and back in gym class, things like that. But don't half-heartedly, really take some intention to it and think about, how these muscles impact your golf swing. You have, tightness, soreness. That one come across the chest, pull with the right, stretching on the opposite bicep, nice and long. Breathing here, don't hold our breath in these stretches. Left arm comes up overhead, bending at the elbow, pulling down on that tricep. Perfect. Now let's bring the soles of our feet together in front of our body. So depending on our level of flexibility in the groin and the hips, you might be up here, you might be up here, but we're not gonna bounce or force anything. We're just gonna kind of let gravity do its thing. So wherever you are, if this is your starting point, then that's great. We're just gonna hold here. I like to grab around my toes with my hands. I'm just gonna hold here. If you'd like to increase the stretch a little bit, you can lock those hands out a little bit, bending forward from your waist. We're not gonna put any pressure here. We're just gonna bend forward. If you're looking at me and you're like, I'm not like that, I'm up here, that's okay. Again, this is what we're here for. We're here to get, further down and to just loosen up in general. Those hands back in. The next thing we're going to do is take our right leg and put it over our left knee. And then we're going to turn toward our right. You can plant that right hand behind your back as support. And left arm comes up and hooks in by that knee. If you can't do this, basically what we're working on is this part of that spinal twist, those other directions of the spine. So if you just want to sit here and just simply twist, to the side, you're still going to get a benefit. If you want to increase that stretch, you can do it like this. Really can gaze over that right shoulder. Again, you can do it this way too. Breathing into it, like you're wringing out those internal organs. And we have to do the other side. So we'll turn to our right. Sorry, left. Turn to our left. And again, if you want to do, you can take your left leg over the right, and you can hook that right elbow in, and you can plant that left hand behind you and gaze over that shoulder. But if that's too much or too complex, again, this is still a great benefit. Really good, guys. Anybody have any questions so far? Everyone doing well? Okay, awesome. We're gonna roll over on, gently keep those legs out from under you and come onto a tabletop position here. So make sure that you're set up in a really good foundation. So your knees are under those hips, tops of your feet are flat on the mat. The hands are wide directly under your elbows, which are stacked directly under your shoulders. So we're in good alignment here. And we're gonna just do kind of like what we just did in the seated version. We're gonna draw the belly button in to the spine, and we're gonna round our back, tucking our chin in. And then we're gonna dip and lift up. So we're gonna just flow in this motion a little bit. Inhale, exhale. And in this position, yeah, if your knees are bothering you, you might want to double. If you have a mat at home, and you can always like double up the bottom of the mat and place it under those knees. You can also use a bolster or a pillow or a couch cushion, just supporting those knees. So we're still flowing in this motion here, waking up the spine. We'll return to neutral. I know I heard someone mention earlier that shoulders are an issue. That's a common soreness for golfers. So we're going to take our right hand and we're going to thread it under this left hand here. Stretch it forward and then drop that shoulder down to the floor of the mat. And you can let that left elbow bend slightly. And just feel that stretch in that right shoulder. Great, now press back up. We'll do the other side. So left arm threads under the right arm, bringing that shoulder to the mat, left ear to the mat. That right arm can bend. You just stretch out that shoulder. Back up onto all fours. The last one in this position I'm going to show you is a wrist stretch. The hands, the wrists, obviously another really important part of the game. So sometimes this one can be really uncomfortable for people. So I'm going to show you two versions. So the first is to take, if your hands are flat on the ground in front of you, we're going to rotate it into your fingertips are pointing towards your knees. And just stretch the wrists and the fingers in this position. If you're like, Caitlin, I cannot get my hands in that position, that's okay. Another way to do it is just take your hands palm up and then gently press back with the opposite hand. So you're in control of this movement here. So you've got options, but we always want to stretch out those wrists. So if you're here, you're doing both at the same time. And if you're not with me there, you can just make sure that you stretch out that opposite wrist as well. So make sure you give those wrists some love and don't neglect them in this flexibility training. From our all fours, so fingertips are now pointing forward if you're bent in. We're just gonna tuck our toes, press up. It's called downward dog. And in yoga, we would do a lot of these, but this is more just flexibility. We're just gonna walk up our feet toward our hands and hang out in this position here, this forward fold. So we're just folding over ourselves and we're just gonna hang here, feeling the stretch up the back of the legs, through the hamstrings, just letting everything just hang. If you wanna grab up your head down and just hang here. You're feeling ambitious and you want to grab behind the legs. Just do that. Another way to advance it is to slide hands under the feet and step on those. That's another good wrist stretch, but that's pretty advanced. So for tonight, we're just going to hang here. Letting that spine decompress. And then we're going to slowly roll up. So I want you to imagine that your spine is like a string of pearls and each pearl is stacking on top of each other as it's drawing up. So the movement starts here at the base of the spine and you're stacking one vertebrae on top of the next, like a string of pearls. So it's like how slow can you get to standing? Slowest one wins. Get to the top and we roll our shoulders down and back. Now we feel like we're 6 inches taller, right? Okay, so now we're in what's called mountain pose. We want to make sure our feet are hip width distance apart. Our feet are stable into the mat. We're standing up straight. Shoulders are down and back. Arms are just gently at our side. And we're just gonna hold here for a second. Bring our arms up overhead. Interlace those fingers again, just like we did in seated. And we're going to sway side to side. So a little bit, introducing that movement back into the spine. And bring those arms down and put them gently on the base of your spine. So like pretend if you had jeans on or pants with pockets that you're slipping your hands in your pockets. And we're just gonna do a tiny mini supported back bend. So again, lower back issues in general, big part of golf comes with the territory of playing sometimes. So we're just gonna gently press back. This is why we're doing it supported with our hands. If there's any pain at all, do not attempt to stretch. This is a nice, gentle way to relieve some of that pressure. Heart comes facing the ceiling. You can gaze up at the ceiling. And release. Coming back up to standing. Next, we're going to take a mini bend in our knees. So we're back in that mountain pose. So our feet are hip width distance apart, kind of like we're in our golf stance. And we're going to flex our knees, and then we're going to sit down like we're sitting into a chair. And from here, the goal is to keep our hips square while we rotate. So we're going to rotate to the right first. So just twisting, trying to keep our hips square at the same time and squatted down. So we're going to feel it in our quads. We're going to hold in and stabilize with our core, and we're going to twist to get that torque. So we're always trying to create that distance, right? That twisting between our hips and our shoulders. And this is what we're working on. Gaze over that back shoulder. Come up to standing. Take a breath, reset. Squat down like we're sitting in that chair. And then turn and twist to the opposite side. It's keeping those hips square to the front of the room. Gazing over that left shoulder, the back shoulder now. And release, coming back to standing. I am going to introduce a yoga pose here called tree pose. Talked a little bit about balance at the beginning. So balance is very important to stay in balance with our swing. So we work on balance a lot in yoga. So from that neutral position, we're going to shift our weight onto the left leg of our body. And we can come up, just test it out, like press into your right toe. And you can lean that heel against your ankle. And you can do, this is the pose for you. This tests your balance. That's great. That's the pose for you. If you are feeling more ambitious, a little bit more trusting of your balance, you can put your whole foot into the side of your calf there. You can also pick up the foot and you can press it into your inner thigh. You have options, wherever you feel comfortable with. Just do not press that foot against that knee joint, okay? That's gonna put pressure where you don't want it. Knees are another area that get injured often in golf. So that's the last thing we want. So whether you're here, when you're using the ground still for support, or you're here, or you're here, we're just going to pick where our tree is for today. And it might be different from day to day, side to side of your body. And arms can be down at your side, up at heart center, can grow the branches of your tree, whatever helps you stay in balance. Another trick to help you work on your balance is I like to gaze at a point on the floor, an unmoving object about 12 inches or so away, and just focusing on that object, as well as rounding down through that standing leg and those standing toes, maybe pressing into that big toe. That really helps stabilize the movement here. Core is drawn in, everything is nice and activated. Deep breaths here, we're not holding our breath, we're remembering to breathe. Trees look great. And release. So shake out that standing leg. Coming back through neutral, our weight shifts over to that right side. And then we pick where we're going to begin with that tree on this side. So again, the supported one where your toe is still on the ground and you're just using that ankle. You're using that side of your shin, or you're up here on that thigh. So you have options. Use that unmoving object. Pick a spot out on the floor. It's a discoloration in the wood grain or your carpeting. Hands, you have options of where you want to place those. Core is in nice and tight. We're breathing normally. We're balancing. Now, if you need to do this kind of thing by a wall, by all means, you can use a wall to support you. Just, test and see how you're improving, day by day, week by week. Maybe it's, your full hand is here one day, then maybe it's just a finger, and then maybe one day you're all the way away from the wall. Awesome. Trees release. And we will shake that out. We'll do our reverse forward fold. So we're going to stand back in our mountain pose, our neutral stance, from the hips, bending down toward the floor slowly. This time we're going to place our hands on the floor, step our feet back briefly into plank, and then lower down onto the floor. Tops of the feet come down toward the floor. And we'll just put our hands out in front of us, resting on our elbows. And this is called Sphinx pose. So you can tell that you can feel it a little bit in your low back, that stretch there. So we're just gonna stay here for tonight's class. But there are other options to increase that back bend, but we're not gonna get into that tonight. So for tonight's purposes, this is a good place to be. To counteract this stretch, we'll press our hands into the floor, push back, and then sit back on those knees and just enjoy this child's pose stretch. Then we'll end with 2 quick stretches on our back. So we'll pick those legs out from under us. Roll down onto the back. Gonna bring in our right knee to our chest, and then our left. Take that left foot and put it on the right knee. And we're gonna thread our left hand through our legs and grab on behind that thigh into this figure 4 stretch. With the supine pigeon. And you should feel stretch all down the back of the leg, the glute here. And then bring both knees into the chest again. This time the right foot comes on the left knee, right hand goes through the middle of the 4, and we grab that opposite thigh, pulling it in. Then we're going to release both legs down to the mat. We'll end here with a spinal twist. So bring a right knee into the chest, give it a nice hug and a nice squeeze. Lift it up and over that extended left leg and gaze over the right shoulder. Arms can come out at a T. You'll feel this twist in the spine, this nice twist. You may feel your back crack in this position. I'd like to do this twist at the end of the day. Sometimes it's releasing all the tension from sitting. This is a really, really good one for obvious reasons for golf with the twist. Releasing a lot of tension. For purposes of tonight, we're going to roll back up and do the other side quick. So right leg comes to the floor, left knee comes up and over that extended leg, arms come out in a T, gaze is over that left shoulder. But, you want to hold this stretch for at least 30 seconds. Sometimes I like to hold this a lot longer because it feels so good. Awesome. So now we can bring both knees in, give them a hug, and then kind of rock back up to seated. And I hope you guys enjoyed that little routine. We hope to put this up online for you guys, so hopefully if you wanted to follow it again, you'll have access. If you wanted to see something that we did and double check that, more than welcome to. But hopefully you found a stretch or 2 in there that you really like that will be part of your routine. And hopefully you'll also join us for classes. We have a number of yoga classes here at Tone Body Fitness. I teach the gentle flow yoga on Saturdays at 10, but there's a lot of other opportunities as well. Really looking forward to these next sessions with you guys. Next one in February with strength. Tony's going to take us through a great routine there, and then putting it all together in March, and then hopefully we'll all be out on the course together soon. Did anyone have any questions for either of us?
This is the time we'll open up for a little question and answer, and it can be specific to the presentation that we just did today, but we can open it up about other aspects too. If you're curious about any of the strength training components for the next month, if you have some golf specific questions as to how Caitlin got so good at golf, you can ask her that. So we have a lot of different aspects for the question and answer. So feel free to unmute yourself, let us know. Give us some feedback what you guys thought about today's presentation, things that maybe you can incorporate into your own flexibility and training. If you want to bring that little guy, Patrick, to the next session, you can do that. Little kids are perfect for the strength training portion. You can use them as weight. We got anything?
You must have covered it all.
That's a pretty good presentation. Guess we answered all your guys' questions, which was awesome. So if something comes up to you guys in the next couple minutes, or you forgot to ask us, no worries. You should have my email. It's the same one you guys RSVP'd to for the presentation. Feel free to send out any questions via email regarding anything we went through today or anything we go through in the future. Once again, as members, for the ones that are members of Golf Tech, you also get 15% off of any of our training services here. So if you want to do some yoga classes with Caitlin to help, if you felt like a lot of that stuff actually felt move a little bit more in your body and you felt loose and took some of the stiffness out of your neck and your hips, it's excellent to incorporate that into a regular routine 1 to 2 times throughout the week to really help increase that flexibility. So, yeah, but appreciate all you guys hopping on today for the presentation. It was a pleasure getting to chat with all you guys and explain a little bit more of our knowledge base and our flexibility and what we really enjoy to do and our passion. So if there isn't any other questions, don't want to take up too much of your time. That was exactly a 45-minute presentation, but you guys enjoy the rest of your Thursday evening.
Thanks for joining, guys.
Thank you.